Okay, we are now part six in our Simple Habits for a Happy Christian. So if y'all were here last week, we talked about participating in fellowship. That was part 5, participating in fellowship. Now, y'all came on a really good Sunday because you get to participate in fellowship with other believers, and we get to eat, right? Is that like not the number one best time to fellowship? How many of you invite someone over to your house and say, hey, come on over, we're just going to sit around? You never do that, do you? You come on over and you generally just eat, right? I remember the last time I was out at Max's house. We ate, and Max has got a great sense of humor, by the way, okay? We went over there, and if you don't know anything about Max, I'm going to tell you a little story. So we went over there, and I did. I went over there, and he skins. What do you call it? He traps animals, and he skins them. And he had one hanging up. I got a picture here. No, I don't have a picture. I don't have a picture. I mean, I do, just not here. I could get one, though. And so there he is. He's standing with this animal. It was a bobcat. So he had this bobcat. It was all upside down, and he had the skin all pulled off, and he takes his knife. He says, oh, yeah, you could eat all this stuff. He says, you could eat. Have I told you this story? I'm some people. Anyway, I said, he says, yeah, you could eat all this. You could eat this. And he says, here are the tenderloins. And I said, those are tenderloins. And I said, well, let's eat them. And he looked at me and he says, okay. I said, well, let's eat them now. And he's like, okay. Now, I don't think he's ever eaten bobcat, have you? You have? I thought that was your first time. Oh. Ruined it. Never mind then. Boy, that's just kind of a wasted joke. Well, he shot me a text later, and I said, thanks for lunch. And he says, well, the lunch, I don't know, he says something about it wasn't all great or whatever, but he says he's had this urge to rub his shoulder against the couch and climb a curtain, but yeah, anyway. Usually when you have people over, you fellowship with them, and you usually do it around food. And last week we talked about fellowship and how important that it is as an external habit. I mentioned to you that spending time with the right people is crucial when it comes to fellowshipping, spending time with the right people. I also mentioned spending time for the right reasons, and thirdly, spending time in the right situation. Now, all of these are so important to fellowship. When it comes to fellowship, it's vital for your spiritual growth. Now, you might not think it is, but if you want to grow in your Christian life, if you want to grow in your walk with the Lord, get together with other like-minded people, going the same direction with people that are going the same direction. I mean, you get together. I mentioned last week that you are like the majority of people you hang around. And that is important. You get around the right kind of people who are going to lead you in the right direction. Okay, that was last week, participating in fellowship. This week, we're going to talk about something that is going to, turn your stomach a little bit. It's called preparing for service. Preparing for service. Prepare to serve. And when we talk about an external habit that is going to make a Christian happy, serving other people is also vital. I don't know how many people I've talked to, well, actually I do, 0, that have said to me, Pastor, I just don't like helping people. Generally speaking, when I get together with people and they serve other people, they actually are happy. And it's important to help people. When you are talking about a habit that will make you happy as a Christian, you want to get together with people and you want to serve. Service. Now, this is something we need to prepare for. Okay, we got to prepare for this. I was a Boy Scout, and one of the things they taught me in Boy Scouts is the Boy Scout motto. Be prepared. You got it. Be prepared. That's an important motto. And it's an important motto in the Christian life, and when it comes to service, it's even that much more important. We need to prepare to serve. Robert Baden-Powell says this. He says, be prepared, the meaning of the motto is that a scout must prepare himself by previous thinking out and practicing how to act on any accident or emergency so that he is never taken by surprise. Don't ever be taken by surprise when you go out to serve people. We should constantly be in the mindset of preparing ourselves to help other people. It'll make you a happy Christian. You can't be prepared for everything. You can't be prepared for it. How many of you, there's a word now in our lingo, and maybe it's been around for years, they call them preppers, right? They call them preppers, people who are storing up food and ammunition. Now, I like to say I got my plethora of ammunition, by the way. I kind of have a stockpile, a little stockpile. It's not as big as some people, but I like to say I got some ammunition. Now, we try to be prepared, right? And there are some things that you got to be prepared for more than others. Like, for instance, when you go to the airport and you do not have your ID with you. You want to be prepared. You want to be ready for what you want to be thinking about what's going to happen so that you're not taken by surprise. So the plan is to prepare to serve other people. Because as you begin to plan to prepare to serve other people, you're going to find that life just becomes better. You'll never be taken by surprise. You'll be happy. If I was to take a poll and ask you how many of you actually like to help people, probably most of you would raise your hand. Because it feels good to help people, doesn't it? It feels good to be a part. Let me say two things before I get into the message. Serving is about love. Serving is about love. Galatians 5:13 says this, "For brethren, ye have been called unto liberty, only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another." By love serve one another. Serving is about love. If you don't love people properly, you won't serve them properly. It's the people that love people are the people who are always the best servants. Serving should be for the right reasons. And if love is not at the center of your desire to serve, then you'll never get out of serving what you could if you just loved somebody. I'll tell you what will happen when you serve people without love. You'll begin to serve, and you'll become bitter. You become resentful. It's true. It's true. You'll become hateful. In the bottom of your stomach, if you do not just love someone, you'll say, well, why am I here anyway? Why do I have to do all of this? I remember a situation when I was living in Chicago. Another pastor of all people, pastor, he asked me, he said, Pastor Huss, he says, you got the most experience in this thing. What I need of you is construction. And I said, well, yeah, I'm really busy. And I said, I will give you some time. I'll give you some time, but I just don't know when I'll be able to get around to it. And he says, well, I need you to do it tomorrow night. And boy, I tell you what, my blood pressure was up to here. And I thought, wait, you're telling me that I have to do this tomorrow? I said, I work tomorrow. I said, this has got to be a 6-hour project, 8-hour project. And he says, I know, you have to do it after work. I said, I don't think you understand. I said, I got to work at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I started to become very bitter. And so you know what I did? I went and did it anyway. Because just because you're bitter doesn't mean you shouldn't serve, but serving out of the spirit of love really will help you just have a tremendous attitude about it. Serving because you love people. Now, I did help this guy. And I drove home like this. 1 o'clock in the morning, I was mad. Like, here it is, I'm working, and he didn't pay me for gas. I didn't even see him at the end of the project. So I didn't even get a thank you. And so I'm driving, I'm just all angry, driving away, and I'm thinking about, I hope this thing breaks on him. So I hope that beam falls down and hurts him a little bit. Don't kill him, just maim him. So I'm bitter. I'm driving. And I pull into my driveway, and I'm upset. It's late at night, early in the morning. Thinking, I'm only going to get a few hours of sleep. I woke up the next morning, I was bitter. I didn't get better overnight. I tell you what, serve because you love people. Serve because you love people. Serving is not just about love, serving is about perspective. Serving is about perspective. Listen to Luke chapter 10, verse 30 to 35. And Jesus answering said, a certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho and fell among thieves, which stripped him of his raiment and wounded him, and departed, leaving him half dead. Here's a great illustration, a great scenario that we can probably all somewhat relate to. Maybe not exactly, but listen to the story goes on. And by chance, never by chance, right? There came down a certain priest that way, and when he saw him, he passed by on the other side. So the priest sees this guy who was going from Jerusalem to Jericho, got his clothes stripped off. He was beaten and left half dead, and now this priest walking on the other side of the street. He actually goes, I think he actually sees him and walks across the street to the other side. Right? Listen to this. And likewise a Levite. This sounds like the start of a joke. There was a priest, there was a Levite. When he was at the place, came and looked on him and passed by on the other side. Now you have a priest and a Levite passing by on the other side of this poor guy who just got mugged. And remember, this is about perspective. But a certain Samaritan, as he journeyed, came where he was. And when he saw him, he had compassion on him and went to him and bound up his wounds, pouring in oil and wine, and set him on his own beast and brought him to an inn and took care of him. So there he is. You have this picture of this priest and this Levite seeing this guy that just got mugged, walking on the other side, and then comes a Samaritan and he says, hey, I have compassion on you. And I want to help this person. And so he takes care of his wounds, puts him on his beast, on his animal, brings him to the hotel. This is what he says. And on the morrow when he departed, he took out 2 pence and gave them to the host. And said unto him, take care of him, and whatsoever thou spendest more when I come again, I will repay thee. He says, not only am I going to have compassion on you, not only am I going to bind up your wounds, not only am I going to help you find transportation to the inn, I'm going to pay for the inn, and then I'm going to take care of all the expenses. Like that little $4 bottle of water they tempt you with because you're thirsty, and they put that, don't ever drink the bottle of water. Because you don't know it until you get the bill, right? And he says, I'm going to pay for that too. Because he had a right perspective. Serving the priests and the Levites to them was all about them. But what's it going to look like if a priest and a Levite have to go over here and take care of this one thief? As opposed to saying, it's not about me. Serving is never about you. Do you understand that? Serving is not about you, it's about other people. We have to have the right perspective when we serve. Martin Luther King Jr. said this, the first question which the priest and the Levite asked was, if I stop to help this man, what will happen to me? But the Good Samaritan, he reversed the question, if I do not stop to help this man, what will happen to him? Serving is always about the other person. Serving is always about the other person. It's never about us. And so oftentimes we have our perspective wrong, don't we? And we ask ourselves this question, what's in it for me? What do I get out of this deal? You see, I think we need to be prepared to serve. We ought to have love, and we ought to have the right perspective. Because when it's not out of love, and when it's with the wrong perspective, we're going to drive home bitter, and we're going to be angry, and hateful, and resentful. We need to have the right perspective, just as the Samaritan did. 3 points this morning. Serving should be rapid. Serving should be rapid. Serving should be regular. And serving should be regardless. First of all, let's talk about serving should be rapid. Serving should be rapid. We have to have a prepared posture for service, right? We got to be prepared. The Boy Scouts motto, right? I only made it to life. Anybody an Eagle Scout in this room? You were an Eagle Scout? No kidding. So you know this motto then, don't you? Did you bring your Bible today? He's prepared. I'm glad you held that up. You would have been the subject of an illustration for a long time, John. Be prepared. When I was a teenager, I used to play racquetball. You guys like to play racquetball? Yeah, who likes to play racquetball? I need a competitor. Bill, you like to play racquetball? No kidding. Anybody else? Leo? Okay. I see a little cutthroat going on here. So when I was a kid, I was probably 13 or 14 years old, I played racquetball with some pros. Now the pros were my mom and my dad, okay, and my grandpa. And I remember I would chase that ball. I was a squirrely little kid. I could chase that ball all over the court. And here it is. I'm lying on the ground, almost dead because I'm out of breath. And here my grandpa is, 60-some years old, sitting there, and he's like, ready to go, Joey? You know? Why are you looking all happy like that, you know? And he says, you're doing it all wrong. And of course, that's what you want to hear from your grandpa. You want to hear, good job, Joey, keep it up. No, he says, you're doing it all wrong. He says, you know what you got to do? You got to center yourself in the court. Kind of get near the back a little bit. And he says, you have to stand there like this. And he says, you have to look at the front wall, and you have to be ready. As you hear the ball hit over here, you got to hear that thing wing by you. And when you see it out of your periphery, he's telling me how to be ready. And he says, don't stand flat-footed. He says, stand on your tiptoes and get ready. And so there I was getting ready. I still lost. Anyway, the idea is this. We have to have a ready posture. You have to have a ready posture. Charles Spurgeon said, keep the posture of an upright man ready for action, expecting further orders, cheerfully and patiently awaiting the directing voice. And it will not be long ere God shall say to you, as distinctly as Moses said it to the people of Israel, go forward. Friends, let me tell you, when it comes time to preparing to serve other people, we have to have a ready posture. When we go to a gathering, and we say to ourselves, well, I know the gathering will be done at, say, 6 o'clock. You don't plan to leave at 6:05. You clear the schedule till 7, and you say, I'm going to do whatever I can to help clean up. Now, it's funny that everybody's going to be diving in the kitchen today. We have to have a ready posture. This is a really important thing. Now listen to this, 2 real quick subpoints. Help who you can help. Help who you can help. This is a great Bible verse. Listen to this, Galatians 6:10. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. When we have opportunity, prepare for that opportunity to help rapidly. Because a brother in need is a brother indeed, right? And a brother in need too much is a mooch. But you want to help him nonetheless, don't we? We have to be ready to help even the moochest of people. The ones that just keep on asking to borrow your tools, right? And you're like, I am so tired of borrowing out my tool, lending my tools out. You just want to buy them their own tool, you know? It's like the person who always needs the drill. It's like, they're only $99, just wait till Christmas. You just got to help them. You got to help them. Listen to this. Be ready to help people rapidly. Be in a ready mindset. Here's a couple quick applications. Look for an opportunity. I don't know how many of you wait for somebody to ask you for help as opposed to you opening your eyes and looking around and doing a little survey. Do a little survey from time to time. Look around and say, you know what? Who needs help? This one over here, they need help. Oh, the pastor, he needs a lot of help. You know, look for an opportunity to help people where you can help them. Here's another one. Do good to everyone. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men. Do good to everyone. Don't have don't have a critical mindset of helping some and not helping others. Now, listen to this. Here's another great one. A good place to start is with fellow believers. Help those people whom you're fellowshipping with. Help the people in close proximity first. Do good to everyone, but especially to them of the household of faith. Why? Why do you think that is? Here's why I think it is. I think it's because it's those people who have the commission to go help other people. So you help the people who are supposed to go out and help other people. You see how that trickle-down effect works, right? You help the people that are going to go out and help the people. Start with the believers first. Those people in close proximity. Serve those ones. Now here's another good one. How about this? Help when you can. So help who you can, but help when you can. Proverbs 3:27 says, withhold not good from them to whom it is due when it's in the power of thine hand to do it. So this is great. This verse takes the last verse and extends it further, doesn't it? In the first verse, in this verse, it says, as we have therefore opportunity, let us do good to all men. So this is those people who are in need. This one is those people who are in a deserving mindset. These people deserve it. Withhold not good to them to whom it is due. How many of you have said before, they don't need help? They have enough help. But when you start to think about what that means, listen, there are people out there who deserve to be helped. Now you guys say, well, nobody deserves help. Okay, fine, that's a semantic. But there are people out there that deserve it. And help them when you can help them. Listen, we're not always going to be able to help everyone, and we're not always going to be able to help the people that deserve it. But helping people is not just the people who are in need, but those people also who deserve it. Rapid service is a reflection of your readiness. Be ready to serve. Be ready to serve. If you're going over to, if you're with somebody who deserves to be served, and you say, well, I can help them, but they don't need help, but you still do good to them. If you have the power to help somebody who deserves it, it's your responsibility to help them. It's your responsibility. This one simple habit. Now listen, we've looked at a lot of habits. This is our sixth one. A lot of habits are important to spiritual growth, but this is important. You've got to help people. I mean, Christians are commissioned to help people. We help the people in need when we can, and the people who don't need it as much but deserve it. We need to help these people. Now, not only should service be rapid, but it should be regular. Service should be regular. This is a goal, okay? This is something that we should do all the time. This isn't like a one and done. If you're kind of like, I checked that off the list, got it done, help somebody today. You know? That's not the right attitude. The right attitude is to make service a regular thing. Not like, well, I helped somebody last week, filled my quota. This is a goal we need to shoot for. This is a goal. Now listen, ironically, it was Bruce Lee that said this. He said, a goal is not always meant to be reached. It's often served simply as something to aim at. This is what we aim at. This is what we're looking to do. We're not always going to be able to help everybody. Sometimes we'll have the ability to help someone and serve them, and we're ready. We have a ready posture. And there's no one here in this proximity to serve. Oftentimes it's because we're not looking for it, and that's just true. Oftentimes if we look for people to serve, God will reveal that to you. And he'll say, here's people right here. This was the goal of God. Now we know that he came to earth. Jesus came to earth to die on the cross to pay for our sin. We know that. But Mark 10:45 says this, for even the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, but to minister and to give his life a ransom for many. Listen, his goal was to serve. Now, he served in death, but he served in life. The reason Jesus came was not for us to serve him. He came to serve us. Now, we should serve him, yes, because preparing to serve is not just exclusive to believers, but also to unbelievers, but also to God. And so oftentimes we say we can only help a certain group of people. Homeless people, people without food, people without clothes. We say, no, this is for all of them. It's for all of the believers, all of the unbelievers, for the people who are in need, for the people who deserve it. It's also for God. Service is vast. It's amazing how vast it is. This was the reason Jesus came. Not to be served, but to serve. Are you serving other people on a regular basis? Are you serving people all the time? When you go to work, some of you who work, some of you are retired, or do we say, well, we're retired from that. We don't have to serve anymore. I mean, serving should be something that you do all the time. Getting the door for people, that's like history. They used to do that back in the day. They don't do that anymore. How many times have you just stopped and just opened the door for just a stream of people? It's simple. Every door you walk through, you could hold the door for people. I mean, that is like a little fragment. I mean, that's like nothing. Like, we should do that by accident. We should take out the garbage by accident. You know, it's like when the garbage can's overflowing, cinch it up and take it out. I mean, that's just a real simple thing. That should be accidental. Unless you're Kenny, and then you just squish it down with your foot, right? That's how he does it. There's a joke there, but anyway. Serving should be regular. We need to set up a plan, don't we? We need to set up a plan for serving. As Christians, I think it's only like when somebody, this older person is coming through the door, and it's you just hold the door, and then that's just one time, and then you just. But set up a plan. Have you ever done that? When I was a kid, I would go out and shovel sidewalks and driveways. Now I try not to do that anymore, and probably it's the reason why I hate snow so much these days. But I would just do that. I wouldn't do it for money, not all the time. Sometimes, actually, matter of fact, usually when I would do it, someone would pay me, and I would make more than if I just asked, "Hey, listen, for $5 I'll shovel your," because they usually work me down. They were good. I was like, $5 I'll shovel your sidewalk. They'd be like, how about I give you 4? And I'm just, excited. If I do it for free, they give me 10. But I'd set up a plan. I'd say, hey, Mom, it's snowing outside. I'm gonna go shovel some sidewalks, and I'd just go out there just to help. I'm not some hero. I mean, whatever. I just want to help. I just help somebody, unless it's my dad, and then he would just tell me to go do it. Is that how it works? We should have a plan to serve other people. It's interesting how we serve people today, but it's always ourselves. When you look at society today, we are a self-serving people. Everything is about us, isn't it? Seems to be. Everything is about us. Here's a wonderful verse. Listen to this. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Always thinking about someone else more than you're thinking about yourself. The interest of others should be our top priority. It should be our absolute top priority. What about them? Now, what about me? Interestingly, if we all did that in this room, thought about someone else, we'd never have to think about ourselves because we'd have a whole group of people thinking about us. If I'm looking out for everybody in this room and everybody's looking out for me, I got 60 people helping me, and I don't have to worry about it. But what happens is we become very self-serving because this is what the world tells you. This is what the world tells you. You got to get your own. You got to claw your way to the top. You got to go out there and you just got to do what needs to be done. Man, go out there and get it. Right? That's what the world tells you. As opposed to say, look, no. I want to go out there. I want to help people. And you know what? If I never see anything in return, then that's fine. How many of you have that attitude? It's usually about me. I want something out of this deal. It's all about me. In marriages, it's that way. With your kids, it's that way. In churches, it's that way. In your job, it's definitely that way. You want to be served. Seems like everybody wants to harvest, but nobody wants to plow the field. Think about this. Think about the fact that our top priority should be the interest of other people. The simple and selfless habit of serving people. It's going to make you a grateful people. It's going to make you a real grateful people. It should be done regardless. It should be done regardless. It should be regardless of what needs to be done. There's a tough one, isn't it? Regardless of what needs to be done. Do whatever it takes to serve other people. And sometimes it's a really crummy job, isn't it? Sometimes when people need the help the most is when you say, I'm out of this one, I ain't going to do that. I don't want to help out there because that is gross. Right? I know the Little Quest septic tank went out, and I texted them the other day, and as I'm pulling out my phone, texting them, I'm like, Dear God, I need to offer. So I texted, and I said, hey, Quincy, happy to help. Delete. Not happy. No. It's the wrong word. I'm sure that you have other help. No, I don't know if I should put that in there. What are you thinking anyway? So I don't remember what I said. I sent it, and they said, well, we actually got some people, I think, take care. I said, praise Jesus, I love it. I do not want to climb in a septic tank, but dear God, if you make me, I'll do it. I'll do it. Wear one of those full-body Tyvek suits, I tell you, you got to do it regardless of what needs to be done. Sometimes there's some dirty jobs out there. Let me tell you, there's a story in John 13 where Jesus washed some feet, and he says, if then your Lord and Master, having washed your feet, you also ought to wash another's feet. For I have given you an example that you should do as I have done to you. Verily, verily, he says, I say unto you that the servant is not greater than his Lord, neither he that is sent greater than he that sent him. If you know these things, happy are you if you do them. Happy are you if you wash someone's feet. Now, I don't know about you. You ever wash someone's feet? Any of you have had a pedicure? If you're a man, don't you raise your hand. Don't do it. How many of you women have had a pedicure? They scrub your feet and clean your feet. How many of you men have had a massage? I actually have had a foot massage, a professional foot. I love foot massages. My wife's little frail hands, they can't work them hard enough. And I tried to give her foot massage, but she squirms all around. Don't touch my feet, don't touch my feet. I like a good foot massage, though. And I remember I went in to get a professional foot massage, and they got to wash your feet. My feet, I take a shower. I didn't think my feet smelled, but I think this is routine. Anyway, they wash your feet. I couldn't help but to think, is this individual is there scrubbing, washing the feet. Very, very humbling. As I was watching someone wash my feet. Now, they're not doing it for free, promise you that. And believe me, I gave them a huge tip. I probably made their day. But let me tell you what, a lot of things were going through my mind as I was watching someone else wash my feet. Now listen, we don't have a foot washing ceremony in this church, although I was going to start one. I want to show you how it's done here. No, I'm just kidding. Here's the thing. You do it regardless of what needs to be done. Sometimes there's some really dirty jobs that just need to be done. Sometimes it's washing feet. Sometimes it's cleaning a septic tank. Sometimes it's scrubbing a toilet. I can't tell you how many times I've washed the toilet here. But you know what? It's not about me. And you do it regardless of what's asked. You do it regardless of who gets the credit. This is a big one. Regardless of who gets the credit. That's the toughest thing about serving, isn't it? When someone else gets the credit for something you've done. John 4:36 says, and he that reapeth receiveth wages, and gathereth fruit unto life eternal, that both he that soweth and he that reapeth may rejoice together. And herein is that saying true, one soweth and another reapeth. I sent you to reap that whereon you bestowed no labor, but men labored, and ye are entered into their labors. You know what this is saying? We need to do what needs to be done even if we don't get the credit. But you know what? We're still going to be rewarded for that. Sometimes it's hard to do so. How many of you had to do that? You know, it's funny. I have this thing. I have this book, and it's really, there's a lot of it's kind of funny, really, in my mind. Because the only thing that you see on this book is my name, and I didn't do anything of this. This is not my brainchild. This belongs to Joel. This belongs to Rebecca and to Lydia and to other people and to Dana. This is not, and you know who gets the credit? Me. And I can't write a big enough acknowledgement in the back of this book to let my staff, my team, know how much I appreciate them. I can't mean it. And I tell you what, this is no joke. As I wrote that, I shed a tear. Because it's not about me. It's not about me getting the credit. But you know what? It's not about them getting the credit either. And they know that. And sometimes we just have to do something regardless of who gets the credit. Here's a great quote by Ronald Reagan. There's no limit to the amount of good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit. You can do a lot of good if you're not the one saying, but I did it. I'm the one. If you just allow other people to take the credit, just allow people. It doesn't matter about you. If it's in love, and you have the right perspective, and you help who you can, when you can, and you help them rapidly and regularly, and you help them regardless. Friends, these are awesome principles you can apply to your life, and you will be a happy Christian. Because you and me, I'm just going to say this, God could have used anybody. He could use anybody to take out the trash. He could use anybody to write a book. He could use anybody to preach from this pulpit. Be thankful that God uses you. But who cares who gets the credit? If it glorifies God, that's what it's about. It's about God taking the credit. Now let me say this in conclusion. God is not a forgetful God. Okay? God is not a forgetful God. In Hebrews 6:10, it says, "For God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which you have showed toward his name, in that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister." The work that you do will be rewarded. This isn't a consolation prize. This isn't a consolation prize. This is the crown that God is going to reward all of us for partaking in, and even in the most insignificant labor. One man sows and another reaps, but they both join in together, and they receive the crown, the reward. That is amazing. It's not about me. It's not about me. I don't ever want you to worship me. I don't ever want you to say, "Hooray, Pastor, just go." I mean, I need your help. I need you to hold up my arms and help me to charge forward. But at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about you guys. And you'll be a happy Christian if you go out there and you just serve. You got to prepare for this stuff. You got to come ready to work. I don't know how many of you walk around with invite cards to church in your pocket. I don't know how many of you leave your house without your phone, your keys. I know you've all done it. I've got the system. Keys, wallet, phone, gun. Keys, wallet, phone, gun. Keys, wallet, phone, gun. That's what I say to myself. I turn off the lights, keys, wallet, phone, gun. Oh, got to go grab my phone. And I go back. Because I'm prepared. We ought to be prepared to serve other people. And God's not going to forget your labor of love. He's not going to forget. You'll be rewarded. A lot of times we do things we don't receive the credit. Lord did that. The Lord did a lot of things he never received the credit for. He died on the cross. And many, many, many people reject him and his work. 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ came to this earth to die for you in your place, to give you eternal life. And you know what? Very rarely is he ever received appreciation for it. We all owe a debt that he paid. Imagine that. We're not going to sing it right this second, but there's this great song. Thank you, Lord, for saving my soul. Thank you, Lord, for making me whole. Thank you, Lord, for giving to me thy great salvation, so rich and free. Jesus Christ came to this earth to pay a debt that he didn't owe, to give you a reward you don't deserve. I want this hand right here to represent you and me. I want this wallet to represent all of our sin, all the bad things we've done. Some churches say, turn over a new leaf or head a different direction. They say, get baptized, walk an aisle, give money, pray a prayer, join a church. They say all these things. But the Bible says that the wages of sin is not church membership. The wages of sin is death. Someone had to make a sacrifice. The wages of sin is death. Someone had to die. And 2,000 years ago, the Messiah, Jesus Christ, the suffering servant, came to this earth to serve. And he gave his life as a ransom. Jesus Christ died on the cross to pay the debt that you owe. Friends, if that doesn't get your wood wet, or fire, get your wood on fire, your wood's wet or something, does it? Friends, he died for us. And so many people overlook that, and they're not appreciative. They're not appreciative of what Jesus Christ did for you. No greater love hath any man than this, and that a man lay down his life for his friend. And Jesus died here on the cross. And by simple faith alone in Jesus Christ alone, we can have eternal life in heaven. Jesus died to give us something that we didn't deserve. And we should be thankful for that. And the best way to say thanks is by just receiving the free gift of salvation. It's when you, in the quietness of your mind, say, Lord, the best I know how, I believe. I'm trusting, depending, relying on you for salvation. I believe, Lord, that you died on the cross to pay for my sins, not as just a historical fact, but trusting him that he died for me.